we have made the deliberate decision to temporarily enhance police officers' authority for the duration of the stay-at-home order. Moving forward, police will have the authority to require any individual who is not in a place of residence to, first, provide their purpose for not being at home and provide their home address. Police will also have the authority to stop a vehicle to inquire about an individual's reason for leaving their residence.
My fellow Canadians, the biggest story from last weekend, the biggest story, okay, was how 30 police forces came out all across Ontario to speak out and stand up for Canadian rights and freedoms. It was also no coincidence, or maybe it was, that last Saturday, April 17th, was the annual anniversary of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, okay? You can check it out right now. As a matter of fact, don't check it out, just check out right here. I'll just put it here for you. Last weekend, April 17th, was the anniversary of the Canadian Rights of Charters and Freedoms. Yet it was the first step, the biggest step to take away rights and freedoms was taken last Saturday, April 17th. And so people from across the aisle seem to agree on that. Not politically, but people who are on the street level, the people, the voters, liberal or conservative, they all agreed, basically, that that was way too far. And to me, that was a huge story that should have been covered more than it was. And I watched CBC The National. I watched it on Saturday. I watched it on Sunday. And I did not see them even mention about how the police forces did this. They mentioned it the day of. I knew because I was scouring the internet and I was looking at YouTube and TV to see these major news networks if they would mention it. There was a couple that did on the day of. They mentioned it in passing. There was articles in passing, but nothing, there was no analytical conversation afterwards. There was no back and forth. There was no pondering of what does this mean. And so today we're going to do that, my friends. We're going to do that really quickly. And so what did that mean? First of all, this is the thing that stands out to me the most about this is how foolish and how stupid were they, Ford and his government, to not even check with the police force. They didn't even think to call them up and say, hey guys, we're thinking about, taking away Canadians' rights and freedoms. We want you guys to stop people when they leave their house. We want you to, basically just scare them into staying inside. So we want you guys to pull over cars and just stop people at random, okay? They didn't even think to make that call. So what does that tell you? That tells you, number one, that they're drunk off power. And if they're not drunk off power, then they're delusional.
So by issuing these new additional enforcement measures, it allows police officers to ask the person why they are not at their place of residence and what their place of residence is. And specifically to your question, if you are not willing to comply, then you are breaking the law. And there is an option for the police officer to issue a ticket.
Number two, that they're so full of themselves that they think that the police are also as power hungry as they are. They think that the police will just follow suit like obedient dogs. It's exactly what it means. Because if you don't check with the police forces first and you assume that they're going to be okay with it, why, what else could that mean? That you're completely full of yourself. And so that's what happened. And the very next day, Ford made this announcement on the 16th, on Friday the 16th, which really should be the new Friday the 13th. Canadian, as far as Canadians are concerned, came out, made this announcement, okay? Everybody was ready to go. People were upset, but there wasn't protests. Nothing was happening. And if you ask me, my honest to God truth, I kind of doubt that people would have fought too hard against it. Not from what I've seen so far. This isn't America. Canadians are a lot more forgiving and accepting. But the next day, the police came out. 30 of them, which completely took Ford and his government, took them by surprise. Completely by surprise. Because again, somewhere in the thinking there, they had assumed that police would be okay with that this is what police want. Thank God that they came out against that. And I want people to not forget that, because there's a lot of anti-police sentiment, especially in the United States. Ontario cops are different. Toronto cops are different, as far as I'm concerned. We have probably the most multiracial police force there is. The chief of police was black for a very long time. And I know that doesn't mean anything to some people, but it does mean a lot. And so, Ontario, we have a great police force, and I give them props for what they did. And I don't want people to forget about what the significance of them doing that was. And so I didn't see that analysis take place. I didn't see those conversations from the so-called intellectuals. Now, the second biggest story of the week was my TikTok. No, I'm just joking. But no, I did make a TikTok regarding this issue. I kind of spoke out against Ford real quick. But what's amazing to me about it is not that it got so many views. I think it's around 13K now, and I got a couple hundred followers off of it, and like a little over 1,000 likes, right? And around 300 comments. Now, the thing that's amazing to me, that's truly amazing to me about it, was how many people were so supportive of what I said. How it resonated with them, and how serious they took the issue, and how everybody universally had the same opinion. And that to me is just absolutely amazing, because what's more divisive than politics? And it was a pretty aggressive video that I made. You'd think that you'd get more comments that were for or against. We're talking politics here. Everybody, about 99% of people, were in agreement. You had the odd person who was, more going after what I said about vitamin D or that other drug, which will remain nameless because usually they censor me when I name it here. But surprisingly, TikTok didn't censor me, which I really enjoy, which I really like. I rate that highly. Now, there was one guy, he was kind of rude. He was like, calling everybody idiots and trying to call me a coward for being on TikTok. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But anyways, I let him have it. We did a little back and forth for a while, and then I did a little response video, which actually is pretty cool about TikTok. You can respond to comments with a video. So I did that. Totally buried the guy, I think, because he didn't expect me to come out in a full face shield and mask, especially after the type of video I put out. But the thing is I really do see this thing from two sides, right? I from the very beginning, I have been anti-government on this entire thing. I was talking about the masks when they weren't talking about the masks. I was saying to close the border when they weren't closing the border. When I took it serious, they didn't take it serious. Now I work in a hospital, so I have the advantage of being able to see this up close and personal. I know that it's real. I know how serious it is, but like some people say, two things can be true at once. Number one, it can be true that COVID is as serious as they say. And number two, it can be true that the government is doing a very bad job and they're taking advantage of the situation to instill communism. There it is, I said it. Anyways, I did that TikTok on Wednesday. I think it was Thursday that Ford came out and he apologized, okay? And it's a pretty serious apology. I mean, the guy even cried, which is pretty tough, right? And, although I'm very happy that he apologized and I want to accept it, and sure, I understand he's under pressure and some people say he's a puppet and it's not him, it's the people behind him. The buck stops with him. His name is on the ballot next year, not the people beside him, not the people behind him. And, it would make the federal liberals very happy if Ford lost next year, and then the province will be back in liberal hands again. So let's go ahead and watch that clip real quick, just in case you guys haven't seen it. We'll watch that clip right now, so let's do that.
We move fast to put in measures in place to reduce mobility, but we move too fast. And I know that some of those measures, especially around enforcement, they went too far. Simply put, we got it wrong. We made a mistake. These decisions, they left a lot of people very concerned. In fact, they left a lot of people angry and upset. I know we got it wrong. I know we made a mistake. And for that, I'm sorry and I sincerely apologize. Because as Premier, as I said right from the beginning, the buck stops with me. The stories that could make you cry, families that haven't been able to hold hand. Hold on, folks. I apologize. Hold the hand of their mom or dad as they passed away because of COVID-19 restrictions in hospitals. Healthcare workers who've been pushed to the absolute limit, working to save lives. I want you to know that I hear you. I understand you're going through.
Okay, so, you guys get the idea. He made a heartfelt apology, okay? But I have to ask the question, what if the police didn't come forward and speak up? The apology would have had to happen. So, although I want to accept the apology, and I know how tough the job is, I can imagine how tough the job is. I don't know it because I'm not doing it. That was a line that was crossed, and we need to pay attention to these lines. And I keep hammering this home to more than a few people. People love to pick a side. They love to think that their side is the right side and that their side could never do anything wrong. Increasingly, it's beginning to look like the conservatives and the liberals are two sides of the same coin. That's what it is increasingly starting to look like. I don't care what anybody says. To me, two sides of the same coin, because who would have ever expected a measure like that to come from a conservative government, right? That's the reason why I identify as an independent, because I've been on both sides. I used to identify as a liberal, and then I also used to identify as a conservative. Both those sides have disappointed me massively, and both of those sides are compromised. And so I really think that they're just playing us. I think that they're two sides of the same coin. And whichever side you flip and you catch and you twist, that's the one you got. So that's really all I want to talk about this week, guys. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe to the channel. And if you guys want to see what I did last week, I offered some health advice on walnuts, cashews, peanuts. These are foods that if you eat, they will boost your energy. People always ask me, how do I have so much energy? I go to work sometimes on 3-4 hours sleep, and I got all kinds of energy throughout the day. And I'm also a very happy person. I attribute that partially, substantially, to diet, okay? I'm always eating peanuts, I'm always eating cashews, I'm always eating walnuts. And if you guys try those three things in the amounts that I recommended them in last week, if you try those things, just do it for 21 days, I promise you, you will see a difference in the way you look, in your cognitive ability, and indeed in your happiness, especially if people are feeling depressed right now. You need to eat those walnuts, people. Anyways, you can check that video out right here. And then the week before that, I brought my Super Nintendo out, Street Fighter 2. So I just want to say what's up to anybody who followed me off TikTok and ended up here tonight, because I know you guys definitely followed me because of the political aspects of my being. But I am a man of many different styles, okay? One week I'll be making a beat, next week I'm playing a Super Nintendo, next week I'm talking about health advice, next week I'm talking about politics. So this show, the Pro Main Show, is really just me giving you guys myself as a friend, as my personal friends who know me. They know that I have all these sides of myself, and I'm constantly bombarding them with all kinds of different stuff. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys have a great week ahead. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next Sunday. Peace.